Alright, hello friends, and welcome to a book haul. So I think it's been just about a year, if not almost exactly a year, since I've done my last book haul. So I thought it was time to share with you all the books I have added into my collection since then. Even though it's a year worth of book buying, it's not as many as you might be expecting. I think I counted 20 something, 24, 25 maybe. So I think within literally just about a whole entire year, that's really a pretty good number of books to have been bought. Some of these you have seen already in previous videos, but I'm just gonna include them here because I have bought them since the last time. I have also divided them up into 4 different categories. The first one being gifts. So these are going to be all the books that I have been given by other people, with one exception, which we will talk about when we get there. For the Wolf by Hannah Whitten. This is, I think it's a fantasy romance. Oh, it's definitely fantasy, but I think it's a romance. In this world, the second daughter born is always to be sacrificed to the wolf in the woods to try and help bring back their gods. But of course, there's always more to that story, and I believe from the title and this cover, I'm gonna say it is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, that and because the girl's name is Red. So, okay, I forgot to mention, so the last one, For the Wolf, and this one, Wildwood Dancing by Juliet Marillier, those were gifted to me by people in my real life for Christmas. So, this one is, I'm not entirely certain what this one is about, but I am in love with the cover. And I've read one other Juliet Marillier before, and the atmosphere in her books is beautiful, and that's kind of really what I liked. And this one has something to do with fairies, so fae, and going into the other world, but there's not a synopsis on the back of the book really. It just says 5 adventurous sisters, 4 dark creatures, 3 magical gifts, 2 forbidden lovers, 1 enchanted frog. Cross the threshold into the Wildwood and enter a land of magic, daring, betrayal, and true love. So, I don't know. Again, Marillier's writing was beautiful, and her world building was great. Her atmosphere is perfect, and that's really the main things I look for in a book. So I'm sure I will like this one as well. So this one and the next one were kindly gifted to me by Sweet Paige, also for Christmas. This one is Wilder Girls by Rory Powers. I think this is sort of a dystopian where there was some kind of disease that wiped out everyone, except for the kids in this school. So now they're isolated and they're in quarantine in their surrounding, and one of the students goes missing, and so one of the other students goes into the wilderness to try and find her, and of course they learn secrets about this disease and their lives and the truths and lies and things like that. So again, another one that I absolutely love the cover of. I'm a pretty big cover person, if you haven't noticed, but I've heard mixed things. I've heard some people really like it, some people don't love it, but Paige loved it, this one, and Paige also loved the other one I'm about to show you that she bought me, and we tend to have very similar thoughts and feelings on books, so I imagine I will like it as well. Alright, we have The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. I have actually already read this one. This was the very first book I read this year, and I loved it. So it's basically a cross between The Handmaid's Tale and The Hunger Games. So during the Grace Year, which is the year any girls turn 16, supposedly they develop some kind of power over men their 16th year, and so they're banished to this island in the wilderness for an entire year to try and use up or get rid of their magic so they can come back and be good, quiet little housewives. And of course, things go from there. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this one. Okay, and then if you've been around, you know I've read this one as well. This was my very first gifted book ever by my dear friend Erin, and Erin and I actually vlogged our buddy reading of this, so if you want to check that out and more thoughts on this book, you can watch that vlog. There are children in this world who, not all children, but some children have these magical abilities, and they vary greatly from kid to kid. And then there's this magical school that's supposed to help them learn how to control it. And so they kind of go on this quest to try and get to this school and find safety. And then of course, once they're there, things are not always as they appear, and there are secrets and lies and hidden dangers that we all learn about and go through. Oh, and did I even say the title of this book? Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. Oops. Okay, we have a Compendium of Witches by Natasa Ilincic? I'm not sure how to say that. I'm not entirely sure if this counts as a gift. I'm counting it as a gift, even though I bought it for myself, but it was a birthday splurge, so I'm gonna call it a gift, even though I'm the one who bought it for me. But it is absolutely stunning. Let me see if I can you see the foiling on it? Everything. See that? All the little dots? It's so pretty. So pretty, and that's just the cover. The inside, so this book is, I got it off Etsy. So it was written and illustrated by a maker on Etsy, and it was a splurge, one because it was on Etsy, and two because it got shipped from Scotland. So definite splurge, but oh my goodness, wait till you see some of the insides. So this is basically, it's written as if it were a nonfiction book, but it is fiction, and it's just completely illustrated, and there are different stories or facts written about these different women in different cultures throughout human history, who in today's language would probably be called a witch. And it's just sort of, like I said, it's written as if it were nonfiction, but it's fiction. So let me show you some of the pictures inside. Oh, of course the sun decides to head behind the cloud when I'm showing you this. But, so there's one. I mean, they are just, they're stunning. Aren't they beautiful? Is this not just, they're incredible. So I'm excited to just kind of dip in and out and just read some stories here and there, or facts, I guess. Here, well, made up facts, I reckon. But anyway, splurge, gifted to myself, and I don't regret it at all. I just like to look at it. Okay, and now we're going to talk about those that I have thrifted. So these are books I have bought, I think only either from Goodwill or McKay's, which is a local sort of buy, sell, trade kind of bookstore we have here. The Witch of Blackbird Pond by Elizabeth George Speare. This was a little teeny tiny middle grade. We follow this young girl named Kit, who was born and raised in Barbados, and her parents died really young, and she was raised by her grandfather, and when he grew old and died, she booked passage to America to live with her aunt, her mom's sister. But little did she know, before she arrived, she didn't know that they were Puritans, and because of the way she was raised, she's quite headstrong. She can swim, she can read, you know, basically she can do and is all the things that Puritans hate a woman to be able to do and be. So on top of that, she also befriends the old Quaker woman down by the Blackbird pond, and of course things happen and she is accused of witchcraft. I have actually already read it. I just finished it literally yesterday of me filming this. It was okay. It was like 3 stars maybe. It was okay. I bought it because I had the Newbery Award, and The Girl Who Drinks the Moon also had a Newbery Award, so I was thinking maybe they would be along the same level of goodness, but they were not. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. I honestly don't really know what this book is about. I just feel like it's one that everybody needs to read at least once, and I've been wanting to read it, and so when I was at McKay's, I saw it was there. I picked it up. I think it's supposed to be funny, but I guess we'll see. Alright, we have Mistborn, or The Final Empire, which is the first book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. This series follows people who can have magical powers based on specific metals that they ingest, and they can use them in various ways to give various magical powers. And it of course involves overthrowing an empire, you know, an evil ruler, band of misfits and thieves coming together in a rebellion, things like that. I have actually read this one. This was one of the 5 big books that I want to read this year, if you remember from my plans for 2023, and I have read it, so that's great. I did really enjoy it. I didn't love it as much as Elantris, which is the only other Brandon Sanderson I've read, but I still enjoyed it, and I probably at some point will continue with at least the first trilogy within this universe. Alright, next we have Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. This is another one. This is pretty popular. I see it everywhere on BookTube and Instagram and all of that. So I've been really wanting to read it, and I saw this for, 99 cents at Goodwill, so I picked it up. We're following 2 half-sisters born in different villages in Ghana, and one sister marries an Englishman and kind of lives a good high society life, and the other sister is captured and sold into slavery. And we follow each of the sister and their descendants through 8 generations, and we kind of see the impact of being born or becoming a slave and those who sort of oversaw slavery, I guess, in a way. But I hear really, really good things about this, so I'm excited to get to it. Alright, we have The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This is another one that I hear so much good things about. I believe it's following the son of a wealthy man and one of their servants and kind of their friendship and their lives following the invasion of Afghanistan by America and living through like the Taliban and all of that. So again, another one that I'm not too entirely certain exactly what the plot is, but I've heard so many good things about it, and I saw it and I knew I wanted to give it a try, so I picked it up. The Starless Sea by Erin Morganstern. Again, you might sense a theme here. I have no idea what this book is about. I just know that I absolutely loved the writing and the atmosphere of The Night Circus, also by Erin Morganstern, and definitely mixed reviews on this one. Some people absolutely love it and some people absolutely hate it because apparently it's very nonsensical and it's just confusing and whatnot. So I'm not sure I even want to know what it's about. I just want to go into it and experience it. But again, atmosphere and writing, pretty much all I look for in a book. And I know for a fact that Erin Morganstern has given me both of those before. So I'm gonna give this one a go and see if she can do it again. Alright, we have Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. I have a tentative buddy read of this with my friend Deborah sometime in May. So I haven't read this one yet, but I've been wanting to read it for a few years now. We follow, I don't know her name. What is her name? Hold on. We follow Dana, who is sort of a modern day Black woman who gets summoned by her ancestors back into the antebellum South to save the son of their plantation owner, because that son is supposed to grow up and father one of the ancestors that lead directly to Dana. And so she keeps getting summoned to the past to keep this boy alive in order to make sure that she herself exists in the future. That's pretty much all I know. I just know I hear incredible things about Octavia E. Butler as an author, and I want to read something by her. So here we go. Hopefully won't get to read it in May. If not, I'll read it any other time. Okay, we have The Sisters of Winterwood by Rena Rossner. I have no idea. I've never heard of this one before. I just saw it when I was in McKay's and it looked interesting, so I picked it up. Let's see. In a remote village surrounded by vast forests, Liggett and Leia have been raised on the honeyed scent of their Mimi's babka and the low rumble of their Taki's prayers. But when dark forces threaten their village, the sisters discover a family secret passed down through the generations. Faced with a magical heritage they never knew existed, Liggett and Leia realize that the old fairy tales are true and can save them all. I like a good fairy tale vibed story, so it should be good. And I just saw that Madeline Miller had the blurb for it, and I love her writing, so hopefully this one is great as well. Alright, we have Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Another one I know nothing about. I hear that it's very nonsensical again, but has very beautiful writing, and sometimes I'm a-okay with that. We're gonna leave it at that. I know this has been around a lot. I'm sure you've heard of it and other people talking about it. I think it also has a mixed reviews, so curious to know where I land. Up next are all of my pre-orders. So for whatever reason, I decided that I needed to buy these books before they were even published. Like, I couldn't get a copy of them after they were published, but anywho, I have pre-ordered a few books and here they are. The Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. The only thing I know about this one is I believe it is a sapphic, gender-swapped retelling of the Odyssey. Sounds interesting enough, so we're gonna give it a try. When I ordered it, I actually ordered the UK cover, but now I'm kind of wishing I got the US cover because it's black and gold instead of white and gold. But at the time, I really liked the white one. Anyway, it's here. Okay, friends, this one, it doesn't look like my camera's picking up how green this book is, but oh my goodness. So this is Wayward by Amelia Hart, and it's my understanding that this is a Macbeth retelling told through the three witches. So we follow three different women, I think in 3 different time periods, who are witches. That's about all I know. You'll see that theme and a couple of other books I'm going to show you because I plan on doing a themed reading vlog of them. But anyhow, look at this cover. This is the book that I am the most excited to read, and it just so happens to be April's pick for the Story Continued book club. So I will be getting to it very, very soon. I have another book I need to read before it, and then this one. Oh my goodness. I just want my entire life to be this aesthetic. This book's aesthetic. This is what I want my life to be. All of it. Oh, so excited for this one. I've heard that the writing is incredible and the audiobook is really good as well. So I'm so ready for this one, and it's coming very, very soon. Alright, then we have Babel or Babel. I'm really not entirely sure how to say this. By R.F. Kuang. I have read this one. This is another one of those top 5 big books I want to read this year, and I have now read 2 of them, so yay, go me. I did enjoy this one. Now, the ending is what made it a 4-star for me, otherwise it probably would have been like a 3-star. But still, overall, very much enjoyed it. We follow a young boy named Robin Swift. So he's a Chinese boy in the early 1800s, and his whole village has a cholera outbreak, and it kills everyone in his household except for him. But he's saved by this professor of translation at Oxford, and he takes the boy and he raises him, and he becomes his protege, I guess. So he raises him and teaches him languages and whatnot to get into the Babel, which is the translation department of Oxford, because in this version of the world, silver bars can be used as magic if you can translate words properly to get them to do certain things. There is technically magic in here because, you know, it's a fantasy-ish because of the magic, but the magic is actually a very, 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 very small part of this book. It's mostly focused on sort of the dark side of academia, as well as all of the atrocities that have happened throughout history with colonialism and slavery and racism and not feminism, but, you know, oppression of women and things like that. So this is quite a heavy book, but overall it was actually really, really good. I annotated a lot, which I don't normally do, so that might tell you something. So I'm sure you've heard of this book. It's been absolutely everywhere. And I have it, and I read it, and I mean, I'm glad I read it, even if I didn't wholly love it like some people. Alright, and then lastly, we have just general buys, just books I bought because I wanted to buy them. Okay, we have Hex by Jenni Fagan. This is a very tiny book where it's sort of a conversation between 2 women, a modern day witch who is able to travel back in time to the 1500s or 1600s Scotland, where she visits with and has a conversation with Gailis Duncan, which is a famous witch or a famous woman in Scottish history who was condemned and killed for being a witch. She visits her on her very last night alive, so she visits her in jail the night before she's to be executed. And it's basically just these 2 women having conversations about what has changed, what is different for women and or witches between now and then. And so it's short, but I hear it's quite powerful and a really good book. So this is one of the themed ones I want to do with Wayward. So that's another one, and then the next one is the last one for that vlog, not this haul. Hexenhaus by Nikki McWaters. This is, again, very, very similar to Wayward in that we're following 3 different women in different parts of the world during different times who are all accused of witchcraft. And I don't really know a whole lot else about this book other than that. So I'm excited to get to it because I have been, as you can tell, as we have 3 different witchy books, I have been very much in the mood for witchy stories. And I believe Hexenhaus is the German word for the jail they use for witches, so I'm assuming maybe at least one of these women are captured. I don't know, we'll see. I don't think I've ever read anything written by an Australian author, and that's where this book came from. I'm excited. Alright, these next 3 you've seen before because they're the ones I bought and read for Vlogmas. I'll link the playlist to my Vlogmas if you want to hear more thoughts on these books. But I did buy them, so here they are. We have a Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow, which this one I didn't specifically buy for Vlogmas. This was actually our book club pick for December, but I did read it in Vlogmas. So this is a a Sleeping Beauty retelling. It's really short. It's like I think I would call it a novella. It's really short, but I really enjoyed this one a lot. Follow a girl, I don't remember her name, but she has, what does she have? Okay, her name is Xenia. I forget what she has, but she has some kind of illness, something to do with her lungs. I don't remember, but so she has some kind of rare illness that I can't remember what it is, but it has something to do with her lungs, and she's dying. And on her 20-something birthday, 21st, I think, her best friend throws her a party because she loves fairy tales, and I don't think she's majoring in fairy tales, but it's like a literature major where she's doing her thesis on fairy tales or something, and Sleeping Beauty is her favorite, and so her friend throws a party and finds this old spinning wheel, and of course she pricks her finger. After she pricks it, she doesn't fall asleep, she like gets sucked into this other world, which is like a different version of Sleeping Beauty, where she has to help that princess, and then in return, when she comes back, all that kind of stuff. So I think there are more books in this series following Xenia as she goes to different fairy tales, so I'd be interested in reading that because I did really enjoy this one. Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. This is the, I think, 3rd book in the Wayward Children series, and in that series we follow different children who, at some point in their life, they find a door that takes them into another world where they feel like they belong, like that's where they should have been born and where they want to be, and for whatever reason that world kicks them out, and we follow those children who live in, I forget what it's called, but it's like a school for children who lost their other worlds, as they try and learn to either cope with not ever being able to go back or finding a way back into their world. And this is the 3rd book in that series. Most of them I really like. I didn't love this one so much just because it was a lot brighter and cheerier than the other ones were, but I still overall really enjoyed it. Okay, then we have my favorite book of December in that Vlogmas, which was Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I really enjoyed this one. We follow this young girl, what was her name? Signa. We follow Signa, who was orphaned as a baby. All like her parents were murdered at a party. Actually, an entire party was poisoned and died. Everybody who was at it died. And even Signa herself was poisoned through her mother's breast milk, but she didn't die. And in fact, she cannot die. Death himself has tried to take her many times, and he simply can't. For whatever reason, Signa cannot die. But she can see ghosts and talk to them. She can see death and talk to him. But we don't really know why. She doesn't know why. Death doesn't know why. We don't know. Because everyone around her seems to die, people are usually scared of her, and she's been through a lot of guardians because they keep dying, so she keeps being passed on to the next one up until her, I think, 20th birthday, when she gets to inherit her family's fortune. But this last family, or last guardian that she goes to live with, which is a family, she really, really, really loves them, and she wants them to stay alive. So she does everything in her power to kind of keep this family alive because she's so lonely. But this does turn out to be kind of a murder mystery, because there is someone, was it her aunt or her cousin? I think it was a cousin. The mother of this household had died before she got there, but turns out she was murdered. And then someone is trying to murder one of her children as well. And so it kind of turns into this murder mystery part, which wasn't uninteresting, but wasn't the best part about this book. The absolute best part about this book was Death himself. I love him. I want more of him, but I don't know if I want to continue with the series just to get him. So I'm sure I talk more about this in Vlogmas, but I love Death, and I love Signet and Death's relationship. That's what I loved about this. Everything else was just kind of good, but not great. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, we have The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. I remember that this was one of my most anticipated reads of, or releases of 2021, and I've just now gotten around to buying it and reading it. This is actually the book I'm about to start reading as soon as I wrap up this video. So in this one, I honestly do not know a whole lot about this. What got me wanting to read this book was the very first line of the blurb, which is, "In her forest-veiled pagan village, Ivica is the only woman without power." So that right there was enough to make me want to read it. I have heard incredible things about it and the writing, and we all know by now, especially in this video, how much I love beautiful writing. So I am going to wrap this up so I can get to reading. Okay, so those were all the books I have purchased since the last time we did a book haul. Let me know if any of these you want, if I haven't read them already, like if they haven't been in a video before. Let me know if there's any specific ones that are interesting to you that maybe you want to hear my thoughts on, because I have recently kind of decided to stop doing wrap-ups. So really the only books you'll be hearing me talk about are books that I specifically mention in a vlog or other kind of videos. So if there is one on here that you really want to hear my thoughts on, please let me know down in the comments, and I will be sure to include it in a video somehow. I will be happy to do that. If you would like, just let me know. And with that, I thank you so much for being here, and I hope that means I see you soon.